If you want to travel around Switzerland during April, then there are a couple of important things you need to know, otherwise your travels may not turn out as you wish. In this video I'm going through all the important things and then I'm pretty sure you're going to be good for planning your trip in April. Hello everyone, my name is Jemo, I'm a Switzerland travel expert. I was born in Switzerland and I really know how it is to travel around my country. So let's start with the first thing, and that would be the weather. Well, April is kind of complicated. Weather-wise, I would say it's all over the place. So a typical day during April, it may start with a sunny, bright morning. And then suddenly during lunchtime, you may have a heavy thunderstorm. Then in the afternoon, it's even going to snow. And then during the evening, you again may have a wonderful weather with a perfect sunset. Well, welcome to Switzerland during April. Now, of course, in April, not every day is going to be like that, but in general, the weather may change suddenly, and this is really typical for this month. Temperature-wise, it can be very cold, it can be mild, or it can be even warm. So there were Aprils, it was below zero. Typically, I would say it's between 5 to 15 degrees, but then it can even be 20 plus. This was actually the case in 2020. It was sunny all month and was really warm. Very untypical, but it can happen. Now, not every April is going to be the same. In 2021, suddenly April was very cold, it was actually wintry, it was mostly below zero. And if April is going to be very cold, then all of this messy weather thing is going to shift into May. Now, exactly because the weather is not very predictable, you always need to have a plan B, especially when it's going to rain. It's always good to go for indoor activities such as museums or even visiting caves. Talking about these things, attraction-wise, in April a lot more is going to be already open compared to March, but not everything. Especially in northern Switzerland and in the Swiss plateau where it's already warmer, many attractions are already going to start their summer season. For example, the adventure park at the Waterfalls, that one is by the way really cool. It opens in April, and then very common also gardens, they're going to reopen. Castles, they're going to have opening times now on more days compared to during winter season, so definitely there is more to do. But now up in the Swiss Alps, there it's different. The things that are usually open during summer, they're still going to be closed. In fact, in the Alps it's quite colder. Because of that, it's still winter season. Most of the ski resorts are still open, so all these things during summer, for that you'll have to be more patient. They're only going to open up in May or even June or July. Now, you've been hearing the weather is quite unpredictable in April. You may actually wonder, what season is it now? Is it really spring? Well, in April it's something between winter and spring, and then at the same time it's the peak of spring. Yes, I know this sounds really confusing, but that's actually really the case. So northern Switzerland and everywhere where you're on a lower altitude, it's rather going to be warm. Over there, spring is going to peak. You'll have all these beautiful blossoms. For example, the cherry trees, they're going to be all white. Or then if they're Japanese trees, they're going to be pink. Really, really beautiful. Then if you roam around the gardens, you will see all the flowers are going to bloom. And that is really enchanting. For that, I would say April is really a fantastic month. It's very colorful, just like October, but different. If you go up to the Alps, over there it's still winter, it's still going to be very snowy. And here you can see you have spring on the lower altitude, and on the higher altitudes you have winter. This allows you to switch between spring and winter. And I think this is really one of the coolest things about traveling in Switzerland during April. Last year when my friends Andreas and Shasta were visiting me, we were heading to Ticino, went to Gandria and the Lugano region. It was really warm, it was already sort of summery, it was 20 plus, you could walk around in a t-shirt. Then we were going to Andermatt, and over there it was really cold, it was still winter. Went up to the Gemstock, it was below zero, it was all snowy, and with this perfect sunny weather, it was really beautiful. Many people were still skiing. This is really fantastic. There is no other month in the year where you can switch so easily between the seasons. Now I was talking a lot about winter up in the Alps, and that already gives it a hint. There's still going to be a lot of snow. so this is really great, especially in the early days of April. It still feels quite wintry, but then as the month is passing towards the end, there's going to be less and less snow, and also the skiing isn't going to be as great as during the beginning. Now, most of the ski resorts are still open. Some of them they're already closing down in end of March, but it's usually the case that most of the ski resorts want to maximize their winter season, and sometimes it's even the case that you can still go for skiing in May. About the season, I would say April is actually a rather normal month. There's not going to be many tourists visiting Switzerland. Certainly the hotels are not going to be expensive. So here definitely you will have a large choice of hotels that you can book. But still, I would say do not be too spontaneous. It's always better to plan ahead so you can be sure that the hotel at where you want to stay, there's still going to be an available room. Easter weekend, that's a 4-day weekend. It starts on Good Friday and ends on Easter Monday evening. That one is quite a busy weekend. Many of us Swiss people, we're going to travel. In fact, Ticino, that's a very popular destination. Here, bear in mind, the Gotthard Tunnel, there's going to be very heavy jam. Well, not everyone is going to Ticino. Some of them, they're also going to the Balkans. And yeah, usually the Easter jam, that one will take up to 8 hours. About the food, April, it's not a very special month, I would say, but there are two things that are very important to mention here. It's season for asparagus and rhubarb. The best asparagus in Switzerland, you can get them in Flach. There's this restaurant where I keep going since 15 years. It's called Obermühle. Serve finest white asparagus. They're so tender, just delicious. So if you're a foodie enthusiast, I highly recommend you to go to that restaurant. Season starts in mid-April and it's going to end in mid-June. Rhubarb, that's a vegetable that we use like if it was a fruit. You mostly will find it in desserts, commonly on tarts. About the greens, April, that's not the greenest month of the year, but everything is already coming back slowly. But April, that's the month of the blossoms. So the trees, they're mostly going to be white or otherwise pink. And if you're familiar with spring, there's always going to be the blossoms first, and after that, the leaves that are growing. So if you really want to experience the green face of Switzerland, it's only going to start to be green during May, and then certainly in June it's going to be very green, and that's going to last until early October. Afterwards, autumn is going to set in, and then you will have all these leaves that are going to turn yellow, orange and red. April is a really cool month when it comes to the culture. There's going to be the Easter weekend. Down in Mendrisio, there are these famous Easter processions held on Thursday and Good Friday night. The entire town of Mendrisio is going to be decorated with beautiful lights, and there's going to be this very large parade. It's really impressive, and if I have to underline the importance of this tradition, the Easter processions, they're even considered World Heritage by UNESCO. Then there is also the Sechseleuten Festival in Zurich, one of the big cultural highlights here in Switzerland. It's held on a yearly basis on the afternoon of the third Monday in April. There you'll see the large parade of the guilders marching through the city. If you don't know what are the guilders, they're basically associations of different professions. We call them Zünfte here in Switzerland, and in Zurich this is still very prominent. The whole parade is going to be accompanied by beautiful classic music. And then you'll see the guilders, they're going to march towards the Sechseleuten Square. Over there, there's going to be the final of this parade. You'll see the big snowman that we call Böck. That one is going to be burned, and the people of Zurich, they believe the earlier it's going to be fully burned, the longer and warmer the summer is going to be. Now about the Passroads. In April, most of the Passroads are still closed. Most of them, they're only going to open up during May. But then there are definitely 3 Passroads that are going to be open during April. These would be the Brüningpass connecting Canton Obwalden to the Bernese Oberland, then the Julio and Bernina Pass in the canton of Graubünden. They allow you easy access to the Engadin and the Val Buschiaro. The waterfalls in April, they're definitely going to be again more powerful. This is because a lot of snow is already starting to melt. This is going to feed them all with water. The waterfalls are definitely going to be more attractive compared as during the winter season, but the really best time to visit them would be only in May and June. Well, also July and August is fine, but the very best are May and June. As you can see, it's really great to travel around Switzerland during April. Yes, it's a tricky month, definitely requires careful planning, but then I'm pretty sure it's going to be great. Now if you want to travel around Switzerland during May, then I'm going to see you in this video. Otherwise, if you're already aiming for summer, for June, then I'm going to meet you over there.